Real quick, before we get into this, I gotta say something out loud that nobody at the office happy hour is brave enough to say. You make 6 figures, and you are still broke. Not tight, not between paychecks, broke. And here is the wild part. You are not alone. Almost half of everybody pulling down $100,000 or more is running the exact same hustle. Money in, money gone. Rinse, repeat. Send help. And I am here to tell you, this is not a willpower problem. This is not a latte problem. This is not a stop ordering DoorDash problem. The problem is structural. And today, we are pulling the whole thing apart. Now, before we go any further, I need to be very transparent with you. I am not a financial advisor. I do not have a license that lives in a drawer somewhere. What I am is a cute little digital avatar who frankly looks like the boss's daughter who definitely did not earn that corner office. But the information, very real, very researched. So take it seriously, just not as a substitute for a licensed professional who actually has to answer your calls. Now, where were we? Right. You are broke, and we need to fix that. Here is the truth that nobody puts on the motivational poster. A high income is not the same thing as wealth. Income is what you earn when you show up. Wealth is what grows when you do not. One is a treadmill, the other is a garden. Most high earners are champion treadmill runners who have never planted a single seed. I call this the 6-figure illusion. It is the belief, usually picked up somewhere between your first big raise and your first car payment, that once you hit a certain number, your money problems are over. Spoiler, the problems do not leave. They just get more expensive. There was a survey, and it found something that should disturb every single one of you. People making under $50,000 said they would feel comfortable at around $174,000. But people already making over $100,000 said they needed $378,000 to feel comfortable. The goalposts do not just move. They get in a car and drive away, and you are chasing them on foot. In nice shoes you bought because you got a raise. Okay, hold on. Do you see this man? This is Tobin Atlas. Tobin has a 6-figure salary, a benefits package, and a LinkedIn that says thought leader. And he is standing in a grocery store at 11 p.m. in a bathrobe trying to decide if he can afford the organic bananas. We are going to save Tobin, but first, you have to understand why Tobin is here. So stay with me, because we are just getting to the part where it gets real. What gets high earners is not the big, dumb purchases. It is not the yacht nobody asked for. It is the quiet upgrades, the ones that felt completely logical at the time. The neighborhood that is a little safer. The apartment that has in-unit laundry now because, come on, you have earned in-unit laundry. The school district that is a little better. The car that just happens to be more reliable and also happens to have heated seats and a sunroof. Every single one of those decisions by itself makes total sense. You can afford it. You worked for it. You deserve it. But here is what nobody tells you. Each one of those decisions is a new floor, a new minimum, a baseline you now have to maintain every single month, whether you feel like it or not. Your expenses rise to meet your income like they are training partners. Your income goes up, your lifestyle goes up, and the gap between what you earn and what you actually keep stays exactly the same, or shrinks. And for a long time, it all looks fine from the outside. You are making good money. The accounts technically have money in them. Nothing is on fire. but the whole thing is held together by one condition: nothing changes. One bad quarter at work, one surprise medical bill, one company-wide restructuring memo that shows up on a Tuesday, and the whole tower shakes. Because the paycheck stopped, but the lifestyle floor, that thing does not know how to go down. That is what financial fragility looks like with a six-figure salary attached to it. This is not about small leaks in the budget. That tired advice about cutting subscriptions and making coffee at home is not going to close this gap we are talking about here. This goes way deeper than that. There are two expense categories specifically, two massive cracks underneath the waterline that are quietly absorbing every single raise you have ever gotten. And until you can name them, see them, and make a deliberate choice about them, the cycle does not break. We are going there, but in the next part, because this section has already given your brain enough to chew on. Sit with it. And hey, while you are sitting there doing your little financial awakening, go ahead and check out the ebooks and the financial calculators and all the other good stuff in the links below. Truly, the resources down there will do more for your net worth than any other thing you will scroll past today, which honestly is not a high bar, but still, go look. All right, let me introduce you to somebody. His name is Tobin Atlas. Smart guy, works hard, got himself a promotion that most people would post about on LinkedIn 3 separate times. For years, Tobin was grinding as a marketing manager. The hours were rough, the projects were relentless, but the goal was right there in front of him, glowing like a neon sign at 2 a.m. Get that promotion. And then it happened. New title, new salary, $150,000 a year. Tobin Atlas had, by every measurable standard, made it. The feeling lasted about as long as it takes for your bank to send a payment reminder. Here is where it starts, and I need you to pay attention because this is so subtle you will miss it if you blink. The first thing that shifted for Tobin was not in his bank account, it was in his head. The phrase, "I cannot afford that," got retired. In its place, a new phrase moved in and unpacked its bags. "I deserve this." The first stop was the car dealership, just to look, just for fun, just to see what was out there. 3 visits later, Tobin Atlas drove off in a brand new luxury SUV with an $850 monthly payment, insurance that went up, and a tank that only accepts premium fuel. But the raise covered it, so the logic was airtight. The logic was not airtight because what Tobin calculated was the payment. What Tobin did not calculate was everything riding on top of that payment, like uninvited passengers. Then came the apartment situation. Tobin's place was fine. 2 bedrooms, decent neighborhood, nothing wrong with it. But the new co-workers all seemed to be living somewhere nicer, and the commute from his zip code was getting old, and he was just going to look, just to see. He found a condo, gym in the building, pool, doorman, right in the middle of the city's most desirable neighborhood. $4,500 a month, $1,500 more than his old place. But here's the thing, Tobin had receipts. He had a whole argument ready. He would save on a gym membership. The location was better for networking. It was not just an apartment. It was an investment in his personal brand. Tobin had done the math that made him feel good and skipped the math that told the truth. And then his old furniture looked absolutely tragic in the new space, so that had to go. The neighborhood had nicer grocery stores. The social circle had different expectations. Dinners out stopped being a treat and started being a Tuesday. The bill was double what Tobin used to spend. But everyone else seemed fine with it, and Tobin was not going to be the one who ordered the cheapest thing. Then the vacations changed. The new crew did wine country weekends and ski trips and did not think twice about it. Tobin did not want to be the friend who always had somewhere else to be. He wanted to belong to the life he had worked to earn. And that is completely human. That is not stupidity. That is just how people work. 6 months after the promotion, Tobin Atlas sat down and looked at the numbers. And the numbers looked back at him without mercy. His income had gone up by almost $4,000 a month before taxes. His savings account was in the exact same place it had been before the promotion. The credit card had actually gone up. And Tobin felt something that made no sense to him. He felt like a failure. He was making the most money of his entire life. He had the nicest apartment he had ever lived in. He had a car that strangers commented on in parking lots. And he had never felt more financially trapped in his life. The condo was gorgeous. It was also a golden cage. The SUV was sharp. It was also a monthly anchor. Every upgrade had become a fixed obligation, a claim on future income that Tobin had not fully agreed to, but had absolutely signed for. That is the lifestyle lock-in effect in real life, not one reckless decision. A sequence of completely logical ones that stacked up into a financial ceiling Tobin could not see through. So, where did Tobin's money actually go? Not the occasional overpriced dinner, not the new throw pillows. The money got swallowed by the two biggest, quietest, most efficient expense categories in modern financial life: housing and transportation. I call them the twin titans, and they have been eating your raises for years. What makes them dangerous is not just their size. It is that they scale upward almost automatically when your income goes up. Like they have your direct deposit information and they are subscribed to it. Titan 1 is housing. For most people, it is the single largest check they write every month. And the pull to upgrade when the money comes in is almost gravitational, which is why I call it the housing gravitational pull. The dangerous part is not the number on the lease. It is the ecosystem that comes with the number. Everything attached to a more expensive home costs more. The taxes go up. The insurance goes up. The utilities go up because the space is bigger. The maintenance goes up because the property is worth more. There is an old rule of thumb that says to budget roughly 1% of your home's value every year just for maintenance. 1%. On a $700 home, that is $7,000 a year before anything breaks, just sitting there waiting for something to break. And then there is what I call the furniture effect. Your old stuff looks wrong in the new space, so it gets replaced. Your neighborhood is now more expensive, so the grocery store is more expensive, and the dry cleaner is more expensive, and the casual lunch spot is more expensive. The house did not just cost you rent. It recruited a whole army of additional expenses and put them on your payroll. Titan 2 is transportation, and for a lot of people, the new car is the first thing that happens after a big promotion. It is the rolling announcement, the physical proof that the hustle paid off. But that car is not just a payment. It is a subscription to premium fuel, elevated insurance, expensive maintenance, and an asset that is worth less every single day you own it. A luxury vehicle oil change alone can cost 3 or 4 times what a regular one does. The car was designed to look like a reward. It is actually a recurring bill with a really nice smell. And here is where the two titans team up and really go to work on you. You take a high-paying job in an expensive city. Housing near that job is too expensive. So you move further out to save money on the rent or mortgage, except now you need a second car. Now your fuel costs go up. Now your maintenance goes up. Now you are spending 2 hours a day in traffic that you will never get back. The money you saved on the house gets consumed entirely by the cost of getting to the house and back. It is not a budgeting failure. It is a structural trap that was quietly built around you while you were just trying to make smart decisions. Housing and transportation, together, they can eat up 50% or more of a household income without anyone even noticing until they sit down and look at the numbers the way Tobin did at that kitchen table. And by then, the commitments are already locked in. Now you know what the problem is: the two drains, the lifestyle floor, the quiet trap that no amount of coupon cutting is going to fix. In the next part, we are getting into the actual solution, the pre-allocation system, the strategy that lets you build wealth before your expenses even get a vote. Do not go anywhere. Okay, we have diagnosed the problem. We know the twin titans. We watched Tobin Atlas nearly dissolve into a puddle of anxiety at his kitchen table. Now comes the part where we actually fix it. And I want to be very clear about something before we go further. The solution is not to earn more money. More money into a broken structure is just more water in a leaky bucket. The people who actually break this cycle do not do it by chasing a bigger paycheck. They do it by changing the architecture of how money moves through their life. And those are two completely different games. Before you ask, no, the answer is also not a better budget. And I say that with full respect to every spreadsheet enthusiast watching this right now. Budgeting is a defensive tool. It tells you where your money went after the fact, like a really detailed receipt for decisions you already made. High earners do not need a more emotionally painful way to review the past. They need an offensive strategy, something that makes the right call automatically before willpower even gets invited to the conversation, because willpower is not reliable. Willpower is tired. Willpower just got a promotion and wants a nice car. The system that actually works does not depend on willpower at all. It is called the pre-allocation strategy, and it is genuinely one of the most powerful structural shifts you can make with your money. Here is the concept, and pay attention because it sounds simple, and it is, but do not let that fool you. You decide in advance what happens to any new money before it ever touches your main spending account. You intercept it at the source. The money never passes go. It never sees your debit card. It does not know your online shopping password. This is the core rule. 50% of the net increase from any raise or bonus gets automatically routed to savings and investments the moment it hits. Not after you pay your bills, not whatever is left over at the end of the month. First, before everything else. 50% of the new money goes to future you. It gets transferred automatically. You do not see it sitting in your checking account. You do not accidentally spend it on a weekend that seemed reasonable at the time. It is simply gone, and future you is building something with it while present you lives your life. Let us run Tobin's story again. Same promotion, same $150,000 salary, same $3,000 per month increase in take-home pay. Different outcome. The moment the promotion clears, Tobin sets up one automatic transfer, $1,500, half of the new monthly take-home, goes directly into a low-cost index fund, every single pay period, without Tobin having to remember, decide, or feel motivated. Now, Tobin has $1,500 a month to work with for lifestyle improvements. That is his upgrade budget. That is the full pool. And watch what happens to the math. That $850 monthly car payment would eat up over half of everything he has to work with. Suddenly, the luxury SUV is not the obvious move it was before. A reliable, solid, reasonable car that gets him from point A to point B without narrating his salary every time he pulls into a parking lot starts sounding pretty intelligent. And the $4,500 a month condo, with a $1,500 lifestyle budget, that is a no that answers itself. The pre-allocation strategy did not require Tobin to have discipline or a vision board or a podcast recommendation. The math closed the door automatically, and Tobin still upgraded. He still got a better place. He still got a nicer car. He still went on vacation. He just did it with the half of the raise that was actually designated for his present life, instead of mortgaging his entire financial future on the feeling of arrival. And here is the part where I need to clear something up, because somebody is watching this right now thinking this sounds like a punishment. It is not. This strategy is not about living smaller. It is about living on purpose. The 50% you redirect is not money you are losing. It is money you are deploying. It is buying you options. The ability to say no to a job you hate. The ability to handle an emergency without going into debt. The ability to retire before your body files a formal complaint. And the other 50%, that is yours. Full permission, no guilt, no second guessing. You already handled the most important thing. The future is funded. Now go enjoy the upgrade you actually earned. There is a completely different energy to spending money when you know your future is already taken care of. Tobin eating dinner with friends after setting up his pre-allocation is not the same as Tobin at that table before. Same restaurant, different math underneath the table. So here is how you actually do this. And I mean the practical, real-life mechanics of it, not the motivational version. Step by step, clear and direct. Step 1. Find out if your payroll department lets you split your direct deposit. Many of them do. That means you can send a portion of your paycheck directly to an investment or savings account before it ever lands in checking. It bypasses your spending entirely. That is the cleanest version of this. If your payroll does not offer that, open your banking app right now and set up an automatic transfer scheduled for the day after your paycheck hits. Not when you feel like it, not at the end of the month if there is anything left. The day after. Before present you even has time to consider a spontaneous purchase. That is the whole play. Automation turns saving from a decision you have to make repeatedly into a default that runs whether you remember it or not. You are not relying on motivation. You built a machine, and the machine does the job. The mental shift that makes this work is so simple, it almost feels too easy. Stop trying to save what is left over after you spend. Start spending what is left over after you save. That one reversal from left side to right side of that equation is the entire game. That is how a high income becomes a high net worth. That is how Tobin Atlas gets out of the golden cage. Tobin Atlas, six-figure earner, former banana budget checker, is now building actual wealth. Not because he got another raise, not because he found a side hustle at 11 p.m., because he changed the structure. He intercepted the money before his lifestyle could recruit it. Pre-allocation, 50% of every raise and bonus to future you automatically before it touches your checking account. The other 50% is yours to live on, guilt-free, intentionally, with full knowledge that your future is already clocked in and working. Now, if you have been nodding along this entire video, good. That means your brain is firing correctly, but nodding is not the same as doing. So before you close this tab and go back to your regularly scheduled financial autopilot, there are a few more things we need to cover, because knowing the strategy and knowing how to actually protect it from the real world are two different skill sets. Because the world is going to push back on this system. Your friends are going to plan a trip. Your landlord is going to raise the rent. Your car is going to need something. And if you do not have a plan for those moments, the strategy falls apart before it gets a chance to work. We are going to talk about that next. Stay locked in. And while you are here, go check out the ebooks and the financial calculators in the links below. Genuinely, those calculators will show you exactly what your pre-allocation number should be, which is significantly more useful than whatever your phone's screen time report is about to tell you. Links below. Go. Let us do a fast recap for anyone who skipped ahead, which, first of all, why, but also, here you go. Six-figure income does not automatically equal financial security. The lifestyle lock-in effect quietly converts every raise into new fixed obligations. And the two categories doing the most damage are housing and transportation, which grow with your income like they have a tracking device on your salary. And the exit ramp is the pre-allocation strategy. Intercept half of every raise before your lifestyle can claim it. Automate it so it does not depend on how disciplined you feel on a Thursday. Here is what I want you to sit with. Both paths look reasonable from the outside. The person on the default path and the person on the intentional path are both driving nice cars and living in decent places. From your LinkedIn, they look the same. The difference shows up 10 years later. Default path Tobin is still good at his job, still earning well, and still broke in the way that counts. No options, no runway, no ability to say no to anything without it costing him. Intentional path Tobin has a number somewhere that gives him choices. That is it. That is the whole game. You can keep letting your expenses make your financial decisions for you. Or you can decide right now that your future is not negotiable. Those are the two options. There is not a third one hiding somewhere. It is not about the size of the paycheck. It never was. It is about the structure underneath the paycheck. It is about what you actually keep, build, and own when the dust settles. Tobin Atlas is not rich yet. He is not on a yacht. He is not retired at 35 giving a TED Talk about passive income. He is at a coffee shop on a Tuesday living a normal life, and his money is working while he drinks it. That calm that he has, that is not because his income went up. That is because the structure changed. The system is running. The future is funded. And for the first time in a long time, the paycheck landing is not the only thing standing between him and financial panic. That is what wealth actually feels like. Not flashy, not loud, just options, just breathing room, just knowing the machine is running. If any part of this video made you feel seen, uncomfortable, or both at the same time, then this channel was built for you. We are talking about this stuff every week. Real strategies, real systems, no fluff, no filler, and absolutely no one telling you to cancel your Netflix to get rich. Hit subscribe because the next video is going to cover something that will make today's content look like the warm-up. And you do not want to be the person who finds it 6 months late and has to catch up. We are just getting started. This was the foundation. Everything else, we build on top of it. All right, before you go do something financially reckless, head down to the links below. There are ebooks, financial calculators, and a whole collection of resources that will actually help you run your pre-allocation numbers, figure out your real housing ratio, and calculate exactly how much the Twin Titans are currently taking from you every month. The calculators are free, they are useful, and they will not judge you for what they find. Unlike your credit card statement, which absolutely judges you. Links below. Go use them. Future you is counting on present you to stop scrolling past the description. I am Biscuits J. Go build something. See you next time.